Face in your face.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Uncommon Sense with Jose Negron. Now, for the benefit of those of you who are not familiar with the channel or are watching this channel for the first time, the reason why it's called Uncommon Sense is because here on this platform, we discuss everyday issues where we try to find logical solutions, but not everyone uses logic. For that reason, it is called Uncommon Sense. I also have another YouTube channel called Latina Diaspora where I talk about issues pertaining to Latinos in the United States. The link to that channel is in the description. I want to let everybody know that I'm currently live on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. I also want to let everybody know that the subscriber mode has been enabled. Meaning, if you're not a subscriber and if you wish to enter a comment in the chat, you will need to subscribe to the channel. As always, I want to give a huge shout out to all those who've already subscribed to the channel. Whether you've been a supporter from the very beginning or just recently joined, I really appreciate your love and your continuous support. I also want to give a huge shout out to all those who follow me on social media, as well as those who allow me to enter into devices, and those who watch from the comments, even the haters. So what I'm going to ask you to do, if you have not done so already, I'm going to ask you to please subscribe, like, and set the bell notifications to all. So therefore, whenever I do produce content, you will have the opportunity to catch it live or catch it on the playback. As you can see by the thumbnail, tonight we're having another episode of Open Discussion. And for those of you who are not familiar with what happens, what we do is we talk about simple issues on which I'll give my opinions. And of course, you, the audience, will have an opportunity to opine as well. Also, if you have any topics that you want me to discuss, I will do my best to compliment. If it's something that I'm not too fully familiar with, I will be transparent and admit so. Now, let me make this perfectly clear. We will not get into discussion regarding what the evils that the Israeli government has done, nor regarding the evils regarding Hamas. The reason behind that is that, unfortunately, it's such a controversial issue that a few people are able to discuss it seriously and be completely unbiased regarding which point of view. So, first of all, let me just let everybody know regarding this week's schedule. Now, other than tonight, I will be live on Monday night, Wednesday night, and Friday night. Okay. Now, of course, the last time I actually produced a live was Tuesday night. Okay. The reason for that is because I was away outside of the city, and I was attending a conference, okay, with members of my local. Now, due to the nature of the conference, the ones that sponsor the conference, which is the Labor Council for American Achievement, requested the following. First of all, that we do not post anything regarding the conference, nor the speakers on social media until today. After that, you can post it in English. Also, we need to be mindful of that some of the people that that did speak on personal safety and well-being. Due to the fact that some of the uh, speakers have the law, but not in a not a sense that they actually did anything deliberately criminal, other than protesting policies and things of that nature. And of course, another thing we have to be very respectful. But everything that view. Okay. Now, I did enjoy, let's say, in Atlanta. Okay. Of course, Atlanta is a historic city, especially in the South, and of course, it was one of the major cities in the All Confederacy. So, of course, if you ever visited any cities in the South, one thing you'll know that it can get very humid in the summertime. That that I knew from the beginning, and of course, I dress appropriately. And I would suggest if anyone of you, if you have an opportunity to visit any of the cities of the South, do so. Okay. Um, Now, before I continue, let me just state for the record that the link to join the panel has been pinned. Should anyone wishes to hit that link and opine regarding anything that we do discuss, you may do so. Also need to remind everybody that if I never seen you before, if I never heard from you before, I will insist that you come up in the backstage, um, just to make sure that no one tries to flash anything inappropriately, which will cause the people of YouTube to take down their strength. Once once you've been fully vetted, that is, once it's been determined that you're not going to do anything to disrupt this life or any way, shape, or form, you will be allowed onto the panel. Okay. And of course, it's up to you whether you wish to come up. Okay. Generally, it doesn't matter because I do understand and appreciate there's certain individuals that choose not to come up, and certain those people that don't have a problem with the camera. Okay. So I have to be mindful of that. Now, what I will discuss briefly, however, um, and one of Miss Elite lies, which was, I believe it's been privated. It might have been, maybe some parts have been edited into a replica. Well, um, she invited one of her ops, which I will not name, onto the panel. Okay, in the attempt to try to seek some sort of a truce. Now, in all fairness, I did not see the entire um, live. I did see a few minutes of it, and I think it's kind of interesting to see how the person who was identified as an op tried to move the goalposts uh, in regards to their, their behavior and contact towards the host. Um, as I said it before, it was not really a surprise. You do have certain individuals um, who will try to deflect, try to create a false image, and that is the reality. Okay, anyone who is a uh, content creator for any length of time will have to deal with the fact But there's certain individuals um, that don't not like that content or don't have issue with the host. One of the things that I've stated, and I will continue to state, anyone that's seriously thinking of being a content creator, among the things that they need to do is they need to have thick skin. Okay, and another thing that they be mindful of the fact that any content I create, whether it be good or bad or indifferent, you open yourself up for people to give their critique. And sometimes the critique can be a little bit nasty. Okay. So anyone that's truly thinking about becoming a content creator, be mindful of the fact that whatever you say or do on the internet stays in the internet. Even though you may have either deleted it or privated it or maybe edited it, there's always going to be someone that's going to you know record it. People are going to take screenshots and then they're going to enter whatever narrative that they see fit. Now, the next thing I'm going to be talking about is, of course, the false narratives. Okay. Because the reality is this: no matter, no matter what you say, no matter what you do, it's going to be misinterpreted. It's going to be misunderstood. It's going to people are going to come up with their own narratives and things of that nature. And sometimes those narratives could be far from the truth. And this is something that's been directed not only towards me, it has been directed towards virtually every content creator, regardless of the platform, whether it be Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, or now X, or any other type of platform. Excuse me. Now, this month has, believe it or not, has marked officially 4 years that I have been a serious content creator. Okay. And in that 4 years, a lot has happened. Okay. This platform has gone through some adoption, some changes and things of nature. Of course, for every content creator, I made my fair share of mistakes. Okay. But one thing I have tried to learn is to learn from mistakes and and then to be the best version of myself. Now, in all fairness, when I began creating content 4 years ago, I did not realize, first of all, that I'm gonna have ops. Okay, and basically the majority of the ops is gonna be either because of the nature of my content or because of the people that I choose to hang with. Okay. Now, one thing I've said before, and I will continue to say this again, um, which is, if you're cool with me, I'm cool with you. Okay. It means what it says, folks. If you're cool with me, I'm cool with you. If you approach me in a respectful way, I will do likewise. If you choose not to approach me with a respectable way, well, what I'm going to do is just basically try to avoid any direct dealings with you, okay? Because I do not wish to waste my time or energy dealing with people who've already made up their minds about me. Also dealing with people that's going to paint whatever narrative that they wish. Just give me a moment. Good evening, April Showers. Thank you very much for stopping by. And just to let everybody know, is that my friend April Showers has her own YouTube channel, okay, which she has her okay. Well, I have a great deal of respect for you as well. Thank you very much. But just, just give me a moment. But look, one thing that I have, one thing I've tried to do, uh, to be respectful for everyone that I encounter, um, even the people who, whatever issues, have issues with me. Okay, because the fact of the matter is the following. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I cannot control what another person say or do. I control what's going to be my response. Okay. Well, good evening, Georgia. Thank you very much. You know, one thing that I've strived to do is to be fair, to be unbiased, um, try to respect everyone's point of view. I have tried, and of course, some people don't respect other people's point of view. I do, and generally, um, one thing to bear in mind: this is not an echo chamber here. Everyone, and I repeat, everyone have the right to practice, to share their point of view as they see fit. Okay, and of course, the issue has not been that everyone has a different point of view. The issue has been because um, people try to jam, enforce their point of views on others. Okay, and unfortunately, there have been tons of people that try to do that here on this platform, which I, of course, try you know, to remind people that here all views matter. and that everyone has a right to share their beliefs. Okay. The question is share, not the force down people's throats. Okay. And of course, one thing, and I have to keep stating this. I have made the decision um, not to get into any discussion regarding, the evils regarding what the Israeli government has done. Now, I'm not saying that the Israeli government is completely innocent. Okay, any government, regardless whether it be our government or whatever, are capable of doing misdeeds. And let's see here. Yeah, but this is the thing. If we're going to highlight what the Israeli government has done, we have to do the same thing regarding the Hamas and the other Palestinian groups that have waged war against the state of Israel. Good evening, Mrs. Queen Sunkist. Thank you very much for stopping by. And of course, the people that are in the chat, April Showers, Georgia, and Mrs. Queen Sunkist have their own YouTube channels. So what I'm going to ask you to do is I'm going to ask you to check out their content, and I'm going to ask you, if you have not done so, consider subscribing to their channels. And just as a reminder, tonight is open discussion where I discuss multiple topics. Okay. And of course, the audience have the opportunity of suggesting other things that I will discuss. Okay. Good evening, Dynamando. Thank you very much for stopping by. Okay. Um, Same thing applies with Dynamando. I'll ask you to, if you have not done so, check out his content as well. Okay. So, of course, next Sunday is the Dominican Day Parade. Okay, which every year is opportunity for fellow Dominicans living here in New York to show pride. Yes, and just for your information, for the first time in ever, my local SSEU Local 371 will be marching in the Dominican Day Parade. So that means I'll be marching with members of my union. Okay, and we should take pride in our different groups, whether you've been Dominicans, whether you've been Puerto Ricans, whether you've been African Americans, whether you be anyone from the Caribbean or from Latin America, South America, or what have you. Okay, and one thing about New York, New York has multiple parades. Okay, okay, and of course some of the big great more known parades is called the St. Patrick's Day Parade, which occurs in March. We also have the National Puerto Rican Day Parade, which occurs, I believe, the second Sunday of June. We also have Gay Pride Parade, the end of June. We also have the Dominican Day Parade, and of course, we have the Labor Day Parade, okay, which uh, Virtually all the major unions, big or small, participate in an annual march where we show our pride to become member of unions. Now, one thing as a union man, one thing I will state, and I will continue to state, um, any union, even not so effective union, is better than no union at all. Okay. Why do I say that? Because thanks to the involvement of unions, we have the 35-hour work week. We also have vacations. We also have medical benefits. We also have due process, opportunities for promotion. And when we reach the end of our working career, pensions plus social security and things of that nature. Okay. And of course, when it comes to unions, I mean, there's been a lot of sweat, there's been a lot of tears shed and bloodshed shed regarding the rights that we as unions have now. One thing that it is unfortunate is that many of the younger generations, they do not understand, some of them don't appreciate um, the struggles that um, unions have to endure. There have been people that have been, that shed their blood in order for us to have due process. Good evening, Miss Moore. Thank you very much for stopping by. So tonight we're having another episode of open discussion. So basically, I'm just discussing whatever is on my mind, and I'm doing it without notes. Okay. And I remember in the beginning, uh, I, um, I struggle, with notes, coming up with notes, and then, you know, learning how to do this, so this, off the cuff, so to speak. But I'm happy to see all of you here. Okay, I miss all of you very much. It's been a few days since I haven't done any lives. That's due to the fact that I was away attending a conference. Um, and one thing is that when you attend a conference, you have um, very little time. I mean, because you are attending general sessions and workshops during the day, and then you have social functions in the evening. Plus, you share in your room with roommate, and sometimes your roommate may not want to, be, watching a whole live while, and then um, it could be an inconvenience. So, just as a sense, as a sense of courtesy, I generally would not do any lives. First of all, it's kind of hard, particularly when there's background noise. Um, Now, actually, I've tried to do lives in the lobby, but it does that with the background noise. It makes it very difficult. Okay, and also another reason is that the organization that sponsored the conference had requested that we do not enter any comments regarding um, the conference. And of course, my union frowns on anyone doing a blog regarding a conference. Okay, because unfortunately, what it does create a sense of jealousy. People get jealous, okay, and people tend to take things the wrong way, and people tend to think, oh, we're traveling, this is a paid vacation. No, it's not. Basically, what we're doing is we are representing our local, okay, which means that we have to conduct ourselves with a level of professionalism and also a level of decorum which must be maintained. Okay, and unfortunately, there's a certain amount of envy. Okay, I mean, when you think about it, like in our union, which has over 21,000 members, okay, so that means the opportunity um, to attend a conference are very rare. Okay. Good evening, Irby. Thank you very much for stopping by. And finally, um, Irby has his YouTube channel, creators and shorts. So I'm gonna ask that you show some love for him and check out his content and subscribe to his channel. Okay, I'm sure he will definitely appreciate all the love and support that you direct towards him. So tonight we're having another episode of open discussion. Okay. So plus the highlight. You know, I have not aired any content since Tuesday night. You're quite welcome, Irby. Um, and like I said, um, partly because the organization that sponsored the conference requests that we do not make any comments or post any material on social media, and also let's keep it real. Some um, some of the speakers that spoke um, did speak and share their personal experiences on their own personal risk. In fact, um, one of the speakers in the conference, she was only she's 19 years old, and she was you know, she was stopped supposedly because of a traffic infraction which was false. And what happened was she was arrested, she was detained, and unfortunately, uh, she is an undocumented individual. So she was incarcerated and put in um, terrible conditions for several weeks. Now, let me make this perfectly clear. Um, I think anyone who entered this country should do so legally. In other words, go through the necessary procedures um, in order to gain entry into the United States. Okay, nothing personal. I mean, I do understand that there are people um, for reasons deem it necessary to leave the countries of origin to arrive in the United States. Some of them to avoid political prosecution, others because in danger of their lives. Okay, but I would, it would be preferable if they go through the process and enter the country legally. I said this before, and I will say it again. I mean, it's one thing when you enter the United States on a visa or with a green card, and you go through the correct procedure. However, it's one thing when you overstay your welcome in the United States. It's another thing that you enter the country illegally. And what makes it worse that is you have certain individuals who've been in this country for several years and have not done anything to try to legalize their status. Okay. Now I get it. In some cities, they may not have extensive resources, organizations to help those to legalize their status. However, if you are currently residing in a city like New York, Los Angeles, Boston, Chicago, Dallas, Houston, and any other major city, um, many of them they do have organizations, okay, which they help people who are undocumented to try to legalize their status. Okay, but this is where I have an issue with. If you have been living in the United States illegally for multiple years, and you know that there are organizations out there that will try to help you legalize your status, and you do absolutely nothing to try to legalize your status, that's where I have an issue with. Okay. And again, I go, I, I have visited several countries in my lifetime. And of course, prior to entering those countries, what I did is that I do research regarding what are the norms over there, what's considered acceptable, and what's considered not acceptable, and then making sure that I enter the country with the proper credentials, meaning passport, visa, and some type legal document which identify who I am, mainly regarding my status as a U.S. citizen. And of course, I have enough sense to once I arrive at a foreign country, making sure I go through customs and present my credentials and before granting access to the country, to visit. And of course, I am mindful of the fact that what might be considered Lonnie Anderson passed away. I was not made aware, but if that is the case, um, I am sorry regarding her passing. Let me just do a quick Google search. In fact, unless I'm mistaken, yeah. Oh, wow. Yes, Lonnie Anderson passed away today. Okay, let's see. see, just give me a moment. I mean, she was okay. Well, actually, I didn't realize it that she was 79 years old um, when she passed away. Okay, let's see if I can. Yeah, she was very beautiful. Now, it does not state uh, her cause of death. The only thing it does state that she was hospitalized um, for an extended period of time, and unfortunately, she passed away today. So, now as far as her movies are concerned, let me just show this. Yes, some of the movies that she appeared with are Vigilant Force in 1976, Stalker Ace in 1983, The Lonely Guy in 1984. She did play a voice part in All Dogs Will Go to Heaven in 1989. Coins in the Fountain 1990. Three Ninjas in Megamania 1998. And A Night at the Roxbury 1998 as well. Wow. And of course, she had a long career in television. Okay. She had one a major role on WARP in Cincinnati, which aired from 1978 to 1982. Partners in Crime, which was in 1984. A Letter into Three Rhymes in 1985. Easy Streets the following year. She also played a voice out role in Blondie and Dagwork in 1987. Too Good to Be True in 1998. Sorry, the Wrong Number in 1989. Nurses from 1993 to 1994. Without Warning the same year. The Mullets from 2003 to 2004. And So Notorious in 2006. I did not know that she had such an extensive career. Okay. And she was, no, she was definitely beautiful in her day. Okay, so my condolences to the family of Lonnie Anderson. May she rest in peace. Okay. And all those who are hitting, that entering the stream now, I really would appreciate it if you hit the like button. Okay. Also, if you have not done so, please consider subscribing to the channel. It does not cost you anything, and it but it does help with the algorithm. Okay. Now, earlier this weekend, um, I was reading a comment that Angry Biracial made on his community tab, um, talking about that. Excuse me, talking about that there'll be some major changes with his YouTube channel. Okay, so just give me a moment. Just bear with me. Yeah, I'm just going to okay. I'm just going to share what he stated that as of December 31st of this year will be his last day of making commentary content. He's not leaving YouTube, but he's changing the focus of his channel, which will be more the anime series, his movies, his music, and his streaming network. Okay, and of course he's talked about that. It's gone. Gone through a very lengthy process uh, before he arrived at the decision which he made. He also made light of the fact that as a reaction channel, um, at times the views will go down, people unsubscribe, uh, partly because they were bothered by his content. Let me make this perfectly clear. He has a right to air whatever content that he deems appropriate. Okay. In all fairness, some of the stuff I will not watch, but that's just a personal choice. Okay. Now according to some people, it can be construed as hate speech. Okay, right now we're talking about angry biracial. Okay. So what he did was he recently posted on the community tab, on this community tab, that there's going to be some changes regarding his channel. He's going to be moving away from doing reactions and more focus. Okay. So, and one thing that I will continue to state, um, everyone, and I repeat, every content creator has the right to air whatever content that they wish. Okay. Now, I do read some of these comments from time to time on this community tab. Um, some of them are actually interesting. Others, of course, they post views where I do not necessarily agree. But again, let me just state for the record that okay, you know what? Every content creator has the right to air whatever content that they wish. Okay. Of course, being a content creator, um, that means that people are going to respond or comment regarding your content, whether it be good, bad, or indifferent. Okay. And of course, it goes without saying that anyone that's truly thinking about airing any content is to be mindful whatever you say to do does tend to stay on the internet. Okay, even though you might someone that's going to record it without your permission, or there's going to be people that's going to take screenshots and then they're going to paint their own narrative. whatever it is. And again, let me make this perfectly clear. You cannot control what other people say or do. However, you control what's going to be your response. Okay. And one thing we have to bear in mind that many of these people um, who do react um, do it for a reason. Sure, okay, sure. By all means, I appreciate it, Irby. You can share my life. Thank you very much, and I really would appreciate it. And hopefully, you will give me the same courtesy and let me share your content. And because look, believe me, I get it. As a new um, content creator, um, it's not easy because the fact of the matter is, no one really knows about you, and sometimes it can take a while before the algorithm pick up. Thank you. So I mean, it can take a while. Okay. Now, one thing I will hand it to Dreaming and Gigi is that they have had multiple channels deleted, multiple channels private, and yet they continue to create content. Okay. So kudos to them. Kudos to them. Let's see what else. Let me just check and see if anyone's watching on Instagram. Nope. Okay. No, one thing. No, one thing. I do miss. I'm not gonna lie. I do miss some of the people who used to be appear on this channel. You know, to be perfectly honest, Georgia, I really would know how to react if that number of people actually appear in front of my building. Okay, it'd be like the first thing is going to be what the heck is going on. Second, do I need to hide or what have you? But look, I'm just trying to be the best version of myself and just create content that hopefully people will enjoy. Okay. And one thing I've learned a lot um, as a content creator. One thing I've learned that now there's a function where people's comments in the chat will also appear on the live. That's something I never knew before. Okay. Another thing that I've learned is to pin the link. So, totally, it's why you keep saying you were humble. Small camp creators who have reached that many. I mean, look, let me just look at it. I mean, of course, we don't have thousands of subs in our respective platforms, but all of us, in our own way, um, have tried to create um, positive content. Okay, and have we made our mistakes along the way? Yep, we have. We have, but the reality is that we're all of us, all of us are learning. Are learning, and will continue to learn. Okay. Wow! Congratulations on Georgia. That's amazing. And look, I'm not gonna lie. Um, I'm actually amazed in some of the shorts that I've created. Okay. If I can have one short that's gotten close to 25,000 views, okay, which is like really going viral. I have multiple streams to multiple shorts where they've gotten over 5,000 views. I have a couple, like one or two that's like over 10,000. I have several that have gone over 1,000 views. Um, and basically, when it comes to the shorts, they're either like a motivational message. Okay, and imagine if those protests in the streets over you. Imagine 3 or 4K that did that. Like I said, I would, to be perfectly honest, I would not know how to react. Okay, but one thing that I do try to be mindful of the fact is that not to let my ego get inflated. Okay, because what I've seen some content creators, what they've done is they become very successful um, with their platforms. Next thing you know, their ego gets a little bit too big, and they think that they're all that, and tag back 10 bags of chips, only to see them go through trauma, whether it be because people are not watching their content or things of that nature. One thing that all of us have to bear in mind is that the audience, they can watch anything that's on their minds. They can watch anything on Netflix. They can watch anything on any other channel. So the fact that week in and week out that there are people that actually watched my content and actually enjoyed it, okay, I find that to be very gratifying indeed. And let's see here. Yes, yes. One thing I think we do need um, are more content creators that go out there with a wholesome um, message where people I encourage people strive to be the best version of themselves and actually have a relationship with God Almighty. Okay, let me just check and see. Okay. You have to excuse me. It's just that every now and then I do have to check in Instagram because sometimes I will overlook people who answer comments in Instagram and then probably wondering, wow, this Jose person is supposed to be a snob because he didn't let us in the back door. And then once they saw the Beyond's mask, they become just as strange. Let's see. Oh, Jose, are there any accomplishments you have in comp where I can get out there stop by? Um, I'm sure. I'm sure there are areas where you can enter and share your message of hope. Um, there is. I'm trying to think. My memory is a little. There is the Hunts Point section of the Bronx where it was known to be a hot spot for ladies of the evening, so to speak. Go out there and try to arrange dates for, let's just say, for X-rated activity in exchange of funds. Okay, and not only in not only in the Hunts Point section of the Bronx. I'm sure there are areas like in Manhattan, areas in East New York, and things of that nature, particularly the Bowery, the Lower East Side, where there is large areas of poverty. Okay, because the reality is this: many of us are spiritually dead. Okay, meaning we do not have a relationship with God through His Son Jesus. And one thing we have to bear in mind that um, when you try to speak with someone who are spiritually dead, you have to be mindful how people choose to respond. Okay, and also you need to be mindful of the fact that not everyone is going to like your content. Yeah, but like I said before, definitely, definitely, the Hunts Point section of the Bronx. Also, areas like when you have, okay, let's see. Okay, um, now when it comes to an encampment, um, I'm sure that they're going to have people that's going to look at you, and also make inquiries regarding your purpose for visiting. Okay, and of course, we do have to make ourselves present, particularly, when there's people that are walking in darkness. Okay, excuse me, I'm sorry, just having a single moment. But well, what Georgia is doing, you have to be called to do this, okay? To go out there and to share the gospel with those people that have been marginalized, those who have been homeless, also those who do not have a place to stay. Also mindful of the fact that there's a certain value that is attached to for any type of work. Okay, let's see here. Okay. Well, I mean, look, let me tell you something. It's perfectly natural that they're going to vet you to make sure that you mesh well with the pastor. Okay, so let me just now, if there's anyone that wishes to hit the link, they can do so. If people don't feel comfortable hitting the link, that's fine. Okay. And of course, you're more than welcome to enter your comments in the chat. Just keep it respectful, folks. Because if not, what's going to happen is you will be placed on timeout, so to speak. Let's see. Yeah. And of course, Giorgio has received false narratives regarding what he does. And again, folks, we cannot control what people say or do. We can only control what's going to be our response. Okay, let's take a look. Let's see. Yeah, you know what? I'm considering the price of trying to get an apartment or own property. That's one of the biggest issues. And and I truly believe you have to be led by the Holy Spirit to do what Georgia does. Okay? Because if you're not led by the Spirit, it can easily become something um, that deviates from your original plan, which we got reach out to those who have been marginalized with a message of hope, compared to those that frankly they don't care and that they don't value other people's viewpoints. And of course, one thing that we do appreciate is that everyone's views matter here. And it's so true. Yeah, I mean, look, whenever you do decide to claim that you've been anointed by God and you don't have that anointing um, to be conducted. But, uh, excuse me. I see there's another comment. Yeah, and to be perfectly honest, there are going to be obstacles that you have to face. Of course, you'll have the adversary that's going to question your motivation and question the fact whether or not you are prepared. Okay. But one thing I did notice in the Bible when um, people do go out with the mission, with the purpose of spreading the good news, they do it in pairs of two. Okay. Now, let me just highlight what I'll be discussing this week. So tomorrow night, I'll be discussing how to deal, regarding certain individuals that will have to create chaos. And then there's this knack of avoiding toxic people. So what I will be doing is I'll be dealing with those who are toxic, whether it be at your job or anywhere. Let's take a look. Yeah. Look, this. Let's keep it real. There's going to be certain people at your job that you're not going to go out there and share a glass of wine. And that is due with the fact that everyone has an opinion. Okay. Also, before I forget, I just want to apologize for starting the shrink a little bit late. I didn't at first of all, I didn't realize it was set for 10:30 this morning. It's an oversight on my part, and then I kind of overslept a little bit. So my apologies for starting a little. So what I'm going to do is, it seems like Moon is going to join me on the panel, and I don't see too many in the comments, which I am going to stop to wrap this up. Yes. You know what? I am not okay. You know what? I'm not surprised. You're gonna find out, Irby, that you're gonna have shorts that's gonna get views in the thousands. Okay. But you know what, Irby? I think you eventually you're gonna be doing shorts that will get thousands of views. Okay, it's gonna take a while, but you'll get there. You know, definitely will get there. Okay, let's see. Let me just check and see if there's anyone. Hmm. So at this point, I will stop to wrap it up because it is getting kind of late. So just to highlight, the fact of the matter is, you're always gonna have people that are jealous with you, or maybe they're jealous regarding you. Mhm. Excuse me. One thing I am thinking about doing, I might do my lives at 10 o'clock instead of 10:30. Now I do, the reason why I've done so is because I do get people from the West Coast who do watch my live. One thing I have to be mindful of the fact that after doing something for any length of time, I will be. Mhm. But I will be sharing your content, Abby, when I get a chance this week. But in any case, this has been another interesting uh, open discussion where I did share my views on several topics. Now, my next live is going to be on tomorrow, and the topic will be how to deal with toxic people. In other words, what are some of the things? Mhm. Yes, and unfortunately, we all have to deal with toxic people, whether it be at work, school, our own households, and including our family sphere. What's also complicated things is that people can be shy for whatever reason. But in any case, um, I will be discussing how to avoid toxic people. We all have to deal with toxic people from time to time. Okay. And again, if you have not done so, please consider subscribing to the channel. Hit the like button and set the bell notifications to all. So therefore, whenever I do create content, you will have the opportunity to catch it live. And I'm going to state this where this is how we always close. We must do everything possible to avoid the presence of mentally and intellectually challenged because if we fail to do so, we will be infected by this stupidity and many things. Okay, but in any case, we will close the same way that we always close. We must do everything possible to avoid the presence of the mentally and intellectually challenged because if we fail to do so, we will be infected by the stupidity and massive insanity. This has been another episode of Uncommon Sense with Jose Negron saying good night, take care, peace, and I'll see you all tomorrow night at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Have a blessed night and take care.